Okay, if you're still with me, we're just going to do a couple of things with drop shadows really quickly. I have a whole bunch of presets over here. As you can see, all of these are drop shadows. And no, I do not use every single one of them. Some of them are probably duplicates and copies, but I have the ones that I use, and I'm going to show you how to set some up, and I'll show you what my shadows are, how I use my shadows just for the paper ones here. So I've grabbed this bottom rectangle layer and I'm going to go ahead and apply a drop shadow to it. I don't want to apply a drop shadow to the paper that's copied on top of it because that drop shadow won't apply. It will only be the one that the layer is clipped to. So I'm going to double click it and it's going to open up the effects box here, and I'm going to go ahead and add a drop shadow. And my drop shadows, I usually do linear burn, and then I change and play with the distance and the size most frequently. I don't use spread a lot because I don't know, I just don't like how it comes out of all sizes. So if I do use spread at all, it's typically very low. I've seen some digital scrapbookers really pull off spread nicely, and for some reason it's not for me. So and then you can adjust your size here, your opacity if you want it to be really dark or really light. I typically stick to pretty close to probably around 30%. The angle that you work with, there's some pretty standard angles across the board. I use 45 degrees. And I know a lot of people use 120 degrees. It's just a personal preference. It's where is the light shining on your page to cast that shadow. So I say that it's, the light source is shining right here and it's going to cast your shadows this way. So that's how I work here. So I usually don't typically use solid black. I will go to more of a brown. So I come down here to my yellows and oranges and kind of pull like a darker brown, just somewhere around there. It honestly does not have to be exact, so don't feel like you have to copy everything I'm doing to a T here. It's just, personal preference, 100% what you think looks realistic. And so I've got linear burn here, opacity about 30%, the angle is 45 degrees with a distance of 6 pixels, a spread of 1%, and a size of 24 pixels. And I'm going to go ahead and say OK. And actually, before I say that even, you could create a preset, as I have done here, by clicking New Style. And then you can name it. So I could just say paper shadow and say OK. And then click OK here. And what that's going to do is at the very bottom of your styles, you'll see it added. I'm sorry guys, I have so many. And this has actually been cleaned out recently. So, and there's my paper shadow right here at the bottom. Oops, don't want my libraries right now. Sorry about that. There's my paper shadow right here at the bottom. And so anytime I want to come back and use that same shadow, so let's say that I wanted to do it for my squares as well. Now remember, if I click this paper layer or the top layer, it's going to select the paper, and I don't want to apply my drop shadow to that. I'll show you what happens if you do. Absolutely nothing, because it's applying the drop shadow to the outer edge of the paper, and the paper is not, that part of the paper isn't showing on your document. So I'm going to go ahead and Control or Command Z, undo that. Click the squares that I made beneath it and apply that same style. There we go. And I can do the same for the squares, the rest of the squares that we merged here. There we go. Very, very easy to do once you set up that preset. So you don't have to go in every time and double click your effects panel and add the drop shadow and then change your settings. The styles are wonderful. Use and utilize those preset styles. They will save you so much time. So there we go. Just really simple, brief way to set up your shadows. And I guess we can go ahead and throw in some of our greenery here, right? All those pretty things. And one thing that I will tell you too, don't be afraid to resize and rotate things. you know, that's the beauty of digital is you can use this piece over and over and over again and make it look different every time. So for example, let's say I'm going to go ahead and hold down my Alt or Option, click and drag. And I'm going to pull that piece over here and I'm going to rotate it again. And hit enter. And if I wanted to, another way that you can change the look of it digitally, I will often go to edit and transform, and you can flip it or you know, give it a mirror image either horizontally or vertically. And I do that a lot with my flowers, with greenery, just to kind of, you know, make them a little more different. I'm going to go ahead and select both of these and add my, you know, go back up to my presets here and add some shadows. And you know what? I change the shadows that I use all the time, and I do not have a set, oh, this is for greenery every single time, because there are different pieces of greenery that would absolutely cast different shadows than, you know, the one that I just did there. So maybe this one needs to be, I feel like it's closer to the back of my paper. Maybe it needs to be a little bit more stark. And I'm going to Alt or Option click and drag that again. And this time I'm going to go ahead and, edit, transform. Let's flip horizontal. Whoops, didn't want to move that. And just kind of tuck that back in there a little bit and see now the curve of it kind of fits around this corner a little better. Like, absolutely don't be afraid to use those. I love that. Resize the heck out of everything. You know, because then, like I say, you're using the same thing over and over, but you sure can make it look different. All right, go ahead and apply some shadows there. And you know, I'm going to show you some of these presets too, so you can see what I'm doing here. I've got, again, that linear burn. We've got kind of a nice brown color. Opacity is at 54%, so this one I did a little higher, and if I didn't like it, you know, you can always change it. I'll find myself after a layout's done, if things don't look quite right or I want to tweak something, I'll come in here and just make that distance a little shorter or the size a little smaller, just to kind of make it so that my page is different. And that not everything has the same preset. And like I said, look at all these presets. You know, I will click 3 or 4 of them before I get to some things that I like, and there is no shame in that. That's the beauty of presets. Instead of having to go in and, you know, add it all a million times, it's just there. So, all right, well, I don't think that you want to sit here and watch me scrap for the next 20-30 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and stop here. Hopefully this was helpful. I love scrapbooking. It is such a creative outlet for me. I usually do it late at night when my 4 babies are in bed. It's the only time that is quiet and that I don't get the, you know, the typical mom during the day. So this is kind of, it's my outlet, it's my hobby. I love it. If you have any questions at all or want to see something done in the future, please ask me. I want to help you guys love this as much as I do. So I hope you guys are enjoying this amazing December Stories event. I love this kit. I just can't get enough of it. So anyways, let me know if you have any questions or comments, and I will talk to you guys soon. Thank you.